We have a few games that we've picked, but let's stop on the Lions, because the Lions are incredibly interesting team.
Oh.
The Lions are intriguing team.
Man, I know it's a division rival, but I like the Lions. It's fun to see them play well. Like, and even in the beginning of the season, like their offense was, I think, the number one offense in September.
It's still one of the premium offenses.
Oh yeah, like Jared Goff doesn't get any respect at all, and he's been playing like pretty well this year.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm the Lions, I would not look to draft a quarterback this year for sure.
Oh no!
Especially with their record now, they're not even in a prime position to go for one.
Yeah.
But Goff is a fine quarterback.
They're in better position to reach the playoffs at the moment.
Like, yeah, people forget he was the number one overall pick in 2016. That was 6 years ago only. Like, he's still pretty young.
Yeah.
He's been to a Super Bowl. Obviously, he's not like an elite quarterback, but I think he's definitely more than a game manager. Like, he could probably win you games if you put a solid team around him, and you kind of see that with the Lions offense now. Yeah. They have a really good offensive line. They have DJ Chark on at the receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They just got the rookie Jameson Williams back as well. So
he caught a touchdown against the Vikings.
He had his first touchdown as well this game. So that offense is really exciting, and the defense has been better ever since they fired, I think, the defensive backs coach. They've been performing much better. So the Lions are exciting.
People used to say about Goff that the Rams, remember Rams 2018, they had an incredible offense. Remember that game, Kansas City versus Rams?
Oh yeah, I think
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, this almost 100 combined points, even more.
It's the third highest scoring game in the history.
Crazy good game
in the history of the NFL, and it had the highest point total in the odds before the game. Pre-game total.
I see that. Yeah, I mean, that was an
64
game.
64 and a half, I think it was, which is something huge, because most games have either mid-30s or to the mid-40s.
And the over-under for like Vegas odds is usually like what, 40 points max,
40.
something like that. Yeah. Both teams had that, so it's like But people used to say 2018 they had an incredible offense, and a lot of people said this is all not because of, but despite Jared Goff. Oh yeah, like they considered him kind of like it was a very similar situation to, I think, the 49ers with Jimmy G in the year when they got to the Super Bowl. They kind of
following year,
They kind of look at that, I think, the same way, or like most fans. I think Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Jimmy G, although Garoppolo has looked decent this year. Obviously, he's not out for the year, but Goff has arguably looked better. Like, Goff has looked great this year. Like, it's not even
and
about...
he's played more games.
Yeah.
A wider sample gives more credibility to the stats.
Like, it's not even just the fact that Goff is like handing out like the touchdowns and getting the yards. He is actually, like, if you sit down and watch the team, he is like dealing out there. Like, he has some really good throws. He's going through his progression as well. Like, this is like with the Rams, I think in the final year, a lot of the issues with Jared Goff was that he made like kind of brain dead decisions, because his arm talent, I think, was never in question. Like, he has a really solid arm. He throws a pretty deep ball, I would say, if you could call a deep ball that. But it was never about arm talent for him. I think it's mostly decision making. I don't know if he kind of lost his confidence with the Rams after the Super Bowl and then only putting up 3 points. I'm not sure if that was the case. Now he seems to be doing pretty good. Obviously, it's not a small sample size, it's a couple games, but it's been only this season that we've seen him, so I would like to see him come back next year and possibly repeat the performance. Same thing with Geno Smith to an extent. Obviously, it's a different situation, but if I were the Seahawks, I would probably extend Geno Smith the same way. If I was the Lions, I would keep Jared Goff for at least one or 2 more years, because he has looked decent enough to earn himself the starting spot, I think. Oh yeah, absolutely. Jared Goff has at least locked himself for next year, I think. Let's get back to the Texans and Cowboys. You see, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard have been really, really reliable duo on the ground this year. And Ezekiel Elliott especially, it's interesting for a star who at one time was really... He wasn't really playing well. And for him to come back to form, you would think that he would like to play even as much as possible to get trust back to his name from around the NFL. But does it look better at the moment to stay with this running back by committee? as someone who is a Tony Pollard fan, I would say that it is better. At the beginning of the season, I was actually I actually had the opinion that Tony Pollard should be the full-time starter over Zeke, because
a lot of people have made that case.
Like, he's been a better running back since like 2020. Like, and if you see Tony Pollard play, you can see that he's so talented. He would start on like 25 other teams. I understand why they keep playing Zeke, and he has picked it up this year. So I'm not saying they should bench him at all. I do, and I like the fact that he's playing well this year. I'm happy for Zeke, because he got criticized a lot because of the contract mainly, which really isn't his fault. Like, that's not the player's fault that he got signed to that contract. But yeah, I wouldn't bench Tony Pollard either. Like, I think you have to play both of them. Like, this is perfect because you can run the ball 30 times a game. You keep both of them fresh. They both produce behind a decent O-line. Yeah, I think they should stick with this format. Like, especially if one of them gets injured, none of them are gonna come in with like cold hands. So they're still gonna like be in the rhythm. They're gonna know the offense. They played them with them, and they also will have confidence. So I think it's just a better option to have both of them available. And just play them how you see it.
Yeah. Okay. The scene is the following: the Houston Texans, and the time is the 2023 offseason. Let's imagine that you have the running game figured out with Dameon Pierce for now. I mean, maybe you need backups, but he's good for now.
I would say, just real quick, sorry.
Yeah, of course,
like, they picked up Eno Benjamin from the waiver wire. Because the Cardinals released him. I think he's a solid backup. I don't think you have to necessarily touch running back at all in next year's draft, especially since you can always find free agents who can be solid options. So yeah, I think the running game is figured out. So running game looks very good for next year and for years to come. Which do you address first, passing game or I'll put it different way, quarterback or wide receiver? It has to be quarterback, especially if they get like top 3 draft pick, which looks very likely. I think they have to go quarterback. I'm very early in the evaluation. I've only watched like I think 6 quarterbacks this year. But I mainly watch the top ones though. But I do like at least 2 of them. I think Bryce Young from Alabama is going to be the one that they are actually going to go with if they get the number 1 pick. There's a lot of discussion going about the draft eligible quarterbacks this year, because in 2024 there's going to be like a ridiculous amount of quarterback talent in the draft. So many people feel like their teams would be better off not drafting a quarterback this year, even though like someone like Bryce Young is a really good prospect, because then next year you're gonna have Caleb Williams available, you have Drake May available, and a couple other, but I just can't think of any more right now. If I'm the Texans, I think it's a no-brainer. You have to pick Bryce Young. You still have a lot of other picks. Beef of the defense because you need it. You need the receivers still because you don't have anyone there. Nico Collins, but even Nico Collins is like.
Chris Moore had 10 receptions in this game.
Yeah, Chris Moore has been playing a lot, but I don't know. I see if he's a long-term option. They also picked up Amari Rodgers after we released him. That's a sad story. I think we should. I'm gonna get back to that for the Packers.
About the Packers.
Well, yeah, that's a sad story. I'm happy he has his first touchdown and he's being used.
Yes, he didn't score a single touchdown for the Packers. Okay, let's leave it for
at a point he had more career fumbles than catches this season in like week 5 or 6. Yeah, it was bad.
Very sad indeed.